Well, it's called lain-lain because, firstly, within the Malay language, I think language is very beautiful, and the lain-lain has got so many connotations, right? Social, political, just about things, the number of things. But it's an umbrella term, and I like it because it's inclusive, while traditionally it has also been used to exclude. And so I think it's got a double entendre, and that's why I kind of used it. But I love the Malay language. It's a very beautiful language. It's got nuance. It's got a lot of nuance, and that's how it came to be. Because I found difficulty in actually handling big work because I'm just recovering from this operation. It was started out as a practical like necessity to actually just work small. I could work on a desk. As time went by, I found I really loved the intimacy of the work. There's a level of detail that's quite fine, but in the same breath, it also took on a more abstract quality because you can't put too many lines into a small space. It's not a broad kind of gestural energy, but it's quite a concentrated central kind of energy when you're making these little things. I think there's a lot of pressure and there's art historical baggage that comes with making large works. It's immediately, you yourself put it on yourself as an artist. Like, it has to be a masterpiece, it's a major work. Then what you're trying to say or make or whatever takes on a much more heavy resonance. The small works, because it's like a work on paper compared to canvas. Traditionally, it was always, it's always like paper was always preparatory, so it takes away that pressure. Same thing with a small work, but in a contemporary context, of course, paper has taken on a whole new resonance. I just stumbled on him on the internet. He's, he's of course extremely beautiful as a specimen, right? And he's monumental, he's powerful, and so that's visually already that's very kind of arresting, right? Very, and then the fact that most of my work is about the search for heroes at every level. I think from a Malaysian point of view, a male point of view, a Malaysian Indian male point of view, we are mostly bankrupt of heroes or of our own heroes, often due to our post-colonial context and everything. So to find this hero, which especially among the Indian community is quite lacking, it seemed amazing, right, to have someone like this who was like a superhero almost. It's the most obvious kind of hero is someone who's muscly and hairy, and that's not necessarily always heroic, but it's the most obvious manifestation of a hero, and so that's why he immediately kind of appealed to me. But I cannot find him, so the works are called Finding Ali Gantani, and I hope that putting this message out will somehow get him to agree to meet. I've always been whimsical and impish, if you like, because I think irreverence, to be able to talk about serious things, you must kind of be slightly irreverent so people can laugh and they let their guard down. So I like irreverent writing. I like things that question the status quo as such. But the only way you can do it without getting people to back up is to be kind of funny. I think being fat, your escape is always humor, right? So that's always been a part of my work as well. I think I get it from being fat. It's a kind of a defense mechanism, being funny. So it comes into the work as well, and it has served me well, yeah. But I have no favorites. Whenever I look at one, I think, oh, and I look at, oh. So there are no favorites as such. I love them all. It's every artist would want to love the thing he makes, right? Yeah, because for me the headdress, and I've done exhibitions that were called headdresses in the past. It's a kind of easy symbol of power, because all of us are as human beings. They are all about hierarchies, right? Who's the best artist? Who's makes the most money? Who has the nicest car? They're all basically hats, aren't they? They're all like things you put on to tell people how great you are. It's like hair as well. Samson's hair was shaved; he lost all his powers. So it's that whole idea of a hat. So yeah, I work with props all the time. But I think hats, definitely. I buy hats all the time. I spend a little bit of money on it and irritate my wife. And I don't want my wife to know how much I actually spend on it. Often I find every work feeds off the last. That's why the first work is always the hardest. It's like when you write an essay, the first para, or I used to be a journalist, the first para is always the nightmare. And then after that, each para feeds off the last and grows out of it. It informs the next work. It's the same thing with me. And this exhibition is a bit more unusual because there's a randomness. And I think that's because they're so small, so you're not so like. I just decided that there would be a randomness about it and that I just throw them in the mix. In fact, there was a moment when my plan was to ignore the whole gallery and just put every single work on this one wall. But I'm old and scared, I think. I'm too precious. I think if I was a younger artist, I might have. It was a bit too precious. So I only put a small half vomit wall, when it would have been quite interesting to have the whole gallery empty and just put everything on this wall. You never have a plan, do you? You have an idea, an inkling, but by the time you're finished, it may look nothing like, or it may be nothing like what you know. I never have a clear idea in my head of what will happen, because sometimes I'll be halfway through something and it doesn't work, and I put too much time in it, and then like, I can't just junk it, so I've got to put something else in to counter how crap that bit is. And so it's an evolving thing, right? It's like a living thing, each artwork, but they do feed off each other. We have to find Elegant Tani, but I would like to show him the paintings, and I would like to make a painting of him, even just one.